ಯಾವ್ದು extension ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು. Yeah, guys, today we are going to discuss some important concept from Selenium. So, make sure that you are not going to skip the classes until, we are completing this particular concept called locators. Okay, so it will take, hardly it will take 3 to 4 classes. I mean, I think 3 classes is enough. So, make sure, you are not going to skip this particular class. Okay, okay. So, basically, what we will do in Selenium. Selenium. So what exactly we are going to do? So we are going to finding the elements, right? Finding the elements, and two things we are going to do. One is finding the elements, and second thing is performing the actions. Performing the actions on the identified elements, right. So first, the throughout selenium course or throughout autumn we call it as. So what we will do, we will find the elements and we will perform the actions on the particular element. So in general words, if I can say, go to the website and whatever we do manually, right? Clicking and selecting something and getting something and verifying something and counting something, whatever we do, right? So manually when we do testing, manual testing, what all the things we do, right? So that is what we call it as actions. Manual testing is basically actions. So the element will be identified through our eyes, but selenium will not be knowing what exactly the elements are. So through selenium we have to identify the elements, then we have to perform the actions on those elements. So that is what the throughout selenium we are going to do that. So the very first thing is performing the actions you leave for now. So the finding the elements itself is a major task in Selenium. Okay. So if we are not able to find the exact element on the particular web page, so we are going to our test case will definitely fail. So the second thing is, if we are not able to locate the elements on the web page uniquely, also our test case will fail. So the core concentration is the core the entire Selenium actions whatever we are going to perform is completely depending on the way you are going to identify the elements, the way you are going to locate the elements. So how to locate the elements. So selenium has its own strategy to identify the elements on the web page. So that is what we call it as locators. Locators is basically identifying the web elements on the page. Say for example, if I open any page, there will be many things on the page. There will be buttons, there will be a drop downs, there will be text box, and there will be a check box, there will be a radio button, there will be just a div where it displays some data, there will be a link text, there will be many things like this, there will be a scroll, many things will be there. So in all those things we have, in order to perform our actions, so we need to find those elements. So by making use of this particular concept called locators, we are going to identifying the elements on the web page. If we are able to identify our web element on the page, then most of 50% of the work done with Selenium. So the remaining thing is just applying the actions and just do some kind of other actions and get the results. That's it. So this is a very important concept. So now we are getting into locators. Locators. So if I want some official definition for locators, selling. As per my understanding, the locators is locators is a strategy which is used to identify the web elements uniquely on the web page. So if I can go to some websites and if I can tell you something, locator is a way to, yeah, exactly what. If I go to the official website of Selling, so they are telling a locator is a way to identify the element on the page. It is an argument passed to the finding the elements methods. So check out our encourage the test practice for tips and okay. This is not required for me. So only this much is required. So locators is a way of identifying the elements on the web page. Okay. So locators is basically a way of identifying the elements on the web page. See what I'll do for our reference. So I'll open one website. Okay. So some demo orange HR, demo orange HR. This one site I'll open. So one more site I'll open called Facebook login. So this is the login to the Facebook. Okay. So for this site we will log in. Facebook we don't need to log in. So just in order to understand like how these things works. Okay. So this is what it is coming in. Let's change it to English. This is the page. So this is the official website. See, this is the basically the web page which is loaded by the web server. So from the server, there will be three types of server: web server, application server, and database server. These three layers will be present in the server. So as soon as I hit this URL from our browser, it will reach to the web server and it will get this particular page. And in the code behind side, it will run. Everything will be internally interlinked with the application server and database server, and it will get the data and it will display in the UI. Okay, so this is the page. So here many things are there. Here one logo is there, search button is there, and here some input field is there to provide our input. Here one button is there. So many buttons are there. Here one dashboard kind of thing is there. So inside the dashboard divs are there. So if I want to perform actions on all these pages, so we have to identify the elements. So that is the reason we are going to using the concept called locators. Locators is a way to identify the elements on the particular web page. Okay. So this is one thing. The second thing is before getting into the actual locator concept, we just try to understand what exactly HTML is. Okay. So without understanding the HTML, we cannot go further with this locator concept. Okay. So we'll just try to explain something about HTML. So if someone is knowing HTML also, we'll just try to listen on it. So HTML is one thing called hypertext markup language. So which is used to build the web page. Which is used to build the page, and which by making use of HTML, making use of HTML, we can build the skeleton of the application. Okay. So skeleton of the application means just one basic structure of an application. These colors and this whatever the attraction things are there, right? Here this color is there. Here something whatever. This kind of curve is there. This kind of arrow button is there. Whatever we are able to see, right? So it looks more attractive, right? So these things and all will be done using CSS. Okay, it will be done using CSS by making use of CSS. We will apply some styles into the skeleton. Okay, so we no need to worry about the CSS for now. So you just ignore this CSS for now. So you just try to understand that the HTML is a hypertext markup language which is used to build the skeleton of web pages basically. So how exactly HTML looks like? What exactly the structure of the HTML? Okay. So this is very very important. I think it will start with uh, yeah, I just tried to write one small thing HTML. So for your understanding purpose. So if we inspect this page, okay. So here, there is something called tag. HTML. So then the HTML tag starts and HTML tag ends. Inside the HTML tag there will be a section called header section. There will be like closing tag for header. Okay. So then there will be something called body. So after that there will be something called ending tag for again body. So inside the header section, whatever we write, right? Say for example, this is one heading. Header is there. So say for example, not header. Say for example, one paragraph is there. So this paragraph is this is an automation. Okay. So this obviously there will be closing tag. Say for example, there is something called title. So title of the web page is like this is animation page. So then obviously title and tag will be there. So no need to worry, I'll just try to explain this. Okay. So this header tag is done, then comes body tag. Okay, body tag will be there like header tag. This is also like this. So inside this whatever we want to write to blah blah so things we can write it. And like this basically I'll just try to explain how exactly these things works. Okay. So say for example one button is there. So this is a button and it is btn underscore say for example login. This is close tag and then tag attribute something called say for example name is there. So name is login button. Then comes the ending tag. Ending tag button is it's configured. Say for example the basic HTML will looks like this. Okay. So it starts with the syntax of the HTML is like it starts with this tag something called not dot doc type equal to HTML. So then starts with the HTML tag, ends with the HTML tag. So then inside that there will be something called header tag starting, header tag ending. Then comes the body tag, and then comes the closing the body tag. Inside the header tag, whatever we write, which is related to the headers. So inside the body tag whatever we write, so that is related to the body. Now so how to find out the HTML code which is written for this particular page? Okay, so that is what the very first thing we just have to understand. Okay. So now the thing is, this is one web page. For this page, we want to get to know what is the HTML code which is written for this particular page. You just do right click on this page and you just see the what is click on view page source. So here, if you see here, it started with the doc type and started with the HTML tag and then inside that a tag will be there. Inside a tag there is something whatever the value is there, title is there, title is there. Okay. So instead of this title orange is there. So then after that there is a link tag, something link is there. So then here the tag ends. So this is actually the forward slash I have written forward slash. So the tag then comes body tag. Okay. So inside the body, this is a style tag which is related to CSS. We don't need to worry. So then comes so this basically view page source we cannot understand this code, but as a technical thing we can understand this. This is not a big deal. So this is basically the HTML code which is written for that particular page. Okay. So here we are unable to locate the elements and we are unable to search where exactly my web element is present. Like that we cannot search. So this is the use thing. So if my page contains so much of data, so much of features, so with this we are not able to identify our things. Okay. So that is the reason we always prefer to go for something called every browser has something called dev tools. Okay, so if I do right click, and if I click on inspect, the same whatever we were able to see from view page source, the same thing we are able to see from this place also. Okay, so this is basically a dev tool. So the developers will make use of this tool in order to fix the issues. Basically, most of the website issues or application issues or any code related issues will be fixed from this particular tool itself. So here, as soon as I open here, two sections are there. One is left side section, one is right side section. So the left side section, which is related to the HTML code. Okay, so basically the HTML is a skeleton of the application. What are the web elements are there, like what are the properties are there, etc, etc. The right side section will be shown as which is related to CSS. What are the style applied for this? Padding left to 480 pixels and padding right to 48 pixels. So like this, whatever the styling is there, right? So which color they wanted to make it. So OXT primary one color should be like blue color. So like that, this is related to the style. Okay. So this also we don't need to worry. Our concentration is only about this the HTML section. But as an additional information, I'll just tell you, I'll just try to explain these things also. So this there is something called console. Okay, so whenever any website is whenever we try to open any websites, so if any error happens and if any failure happens in this particular page, so that will be shown under this console tab. Okay, console tab will be like basically which is implementing in a very tools console will be there. So console will basically record the actions which are going to be like performing any errors, success, etc, etc. See here, like where we load the page, something uncaught error happened. So this is the error happened. So this is not a major issue. So that is the reason website is loaded without any issues. Okay. So here, like if I want to do something called like if I want to try to write some JavaScript alert, it will work. We can do that. Okay. Okay, inside this, if I come and if I write something, so say for example 1 2 3 4 and come outside and like click enter. So here it is like showing on the right. Right. So this console will be used for debugging purpose and showing the errors, etc., etc. Sources is like whatever we saw, right? So that the exact source code where it is available. So what are the files which are available for that particular source code? That and all will be there in this the folder structure and exactly the how the folders are structured in the web server. So that will be shown over here. Okay. So then comes network. So network is very very important. One thing where here we are able to see what are the requests we are going to sending to the server through the internet. I mean what are the requests from the browser it is going to the server. Okay, I'll just refresh the page. You can able to see like here. So there are so many things happening, right? So these are the network calls, network requests. These are the requests which is reaching to the server basically. So here we are able to see what are the requests and any success, failures, etc., etc. will be there. These are the requests. So then comes the performance. Here no need to, nothing is there. Comes memory also nothing to worry about much more. So in application tab we have something called like security related thing and session related thing and cookies related thing. Any like cache storage is there for any website, and there is like cookies will be there and session storage will be there. Everything whatever which is related to the application, right? So that will be stored over here. And here something to security we don't need to worry. And here the record is there. So that is also fine. Okay, so that is fine. That is additional information if I want you can see. So this thing is like our selenium complete selenium concentration will be in elements tab itself. So we are not going out of this section, only this section. So how the basically we'll go and inspect login page. Okay. Yeah, yeah, that will be there, brother. No, no, no need to worry about that. We will going further, like See, the thing is, like, we have to try out the all the locators which are available in Selenium. Okay, I'm going to try out all the locators available in the Selenium. So for today, like, what was whatever the plan which I have, right? So for that plan, like, so this is suitable. So that is the reason I took this. So going further, like, we will also try with those things. It's not an issue. Okay. So this is the login page. So if I inspect this page, so this is the HTML code which is written for this. If I just try to inspect this page, uh, so this is the HTML code which is written basically for this. So if I go and inspect this particular page, so this is the button and the type called submit, type called submit, and this is something here. This button. Okay. So this is fine. So if you see here, this is what the HTML code is basically. So here, like, it started with HTML. Basically, HTML will be like, it starts with the tag and ends with the tag. Inside the tag, whatever we wanted to write, we can write it. That's not an issue. Okay. So this, the compulsorily header section will be there, and body tag will be there. Okay. So this is the complete HTML syntax. Basically, tag type HTML will be there, HTML will be there, HTML starting tag will be there, HTML ending tag will be there, header tag will be there, then body section will be there. So inside the header section, if we expand this, whatever the, like, which is related to the headers, right? So what is the title of the page or in the chart? What is something like, which is related to the, what is the link? This is the link, etc. Okay, so this is related to the headers tag. So this will collapse, and I'll expand this body section. If I go to body section also, there will be many things, so like, which is related to logo is there, and one div is there. Inside the div, like, there is something called username, password, etc, etc, etc. So that and all, which is related to this, in this particular body tag, it is there. So for now, we have written something, right? So this, what I'll do, I'll save it in a new notepad. So this, I paste this and I'll just simply save this file. There it is. So go to the desktop and try to write index.html and I'll just save it. Okay, I save this. I'll go back to my desktop. Okay, it is inside API test data. So basically what I'm trying to do is like, okay, that is fine. Uh, we'll just try to like, double click on this. What it will say is we'll see. Oh, this is not even working. Like, what is okay, that we will see later. Okay, so the thing is, it loaded. Okay. See, the thing is, the HTML starts with the tags and ends with the tags, right? So each and every web element on the page, see whatever we are able to see on the web page, so we are calling it as a web element. Whatever, say for example, here we are able to say one logo, right? Orange HRM. So this itself is one web element. So here we are seeing, right? So this login. So this text is also one web element, and this username is there, right? So this username is also like one web element. So one then password is also one web element. So this username is also one web element, and this text box is also one web element, and again password is also one web element. Whatever this image is there, right? So it is image. Okay. So this image is also like one web element. Whatever inside and in and out, whatever we are able to see on the page, that we call it as web element. So inside the web element also it starts with the tag and ends with the tag. Correct. So in between the tags, there will be attributes, there will be properties. So say for example, if one person will be having so many properties like his name, date of birth, his address, where he's working, why to. So many things will be there, right? So in the same way, for every web element, there will be property. So property in the sense like what is the name of the web element, what is the ID of the web element, what is the class of the web element, what is the type of the web element, what is the tag of the web element. So like that there will be like few properties. I'll just try to show one for one web element. This see, so I'll just show you. So this is what I wanted to show you guys actually. Where is my HTML file? So this was my HTML code, right? Yeah, exactly. Where this is went. So this is what the code I have written now for this particular page. See, this is what the code which is written for my HTML. I just simply wrote with the HTML tag. So inside this there is something called headers. Inside this there is something called title. So the title text is orange HRM. So the we are able to see the title is orange HRM. Okay. So that is related to the title. Head means it which is related to the header part. So then comes body. So body which is related to this the exact content of the body. What is there, one paragraph is there, so it is just a text, so it is shown the text. So then comes one button is there, so the tag is button tag. So and what is the id value is btn login is the id. So then what is the text of that button? Login. So that is what we call it as the basic html. So if you see here, so like this, say for example this button is one web element. Okay, let us assume this button is one web element. So this uh, what we call it as, this is the tag, button is a tag. So then comes, it starts with the button tag and ends with the button tag. Then we have something called, this is called properties or attributes. So id is one property, and what is the value for the id. So I guess say for example tomorrow one more property may come called something called a name. Okay, so name equal to, like let us say this is login. Okay, so like this usually developers will, like will be concerned about all these things. As we are not concerned about all these things, we don't need to worry much about this. Okay, so this is how, like properties will be there. So if you go to this orange hrm also, same thing we will be able to see. So basically, like in my html code I have written only few properties. So when it comes to the real time web elements, there will be so many properties. Okay, so this is the username is the one web element. Okay, so for this it is an input is the tag, starting tag. Input means, like like easily we can guess it expects something from us. Okay, button means button. Link means link. Okay, so link will be, like starting tag will be, like a, like means, like hyper, a means anchor tag. Okay, so this is the input. So the property is the, what is the class name, what is the name of this web element, what is the placeholder of this web element, what is the, like something other things are there. Okay, so after that this div is closed, and that's it. Okay, so that is how for each and every web element there will be properties. Okay, so how to highlight the web element code on the particular web page, so that is the thing, right? So now what I'll do, see, so this is how the moment when we do inspect, so this is how the page will list. Okay, so here in the left top corner, so there is something, one arrow mark is there. If I click on this arrow mark, it will turn to blue color. So whichever the web element html code you want, so you go there and you just click on the web element. So if I want to find out this html code of this particular web element, go there and just click there. So it will highlight that particular html code. By looking at this html code and properties, we have to decide what exactly uh, the locators we wanted to use. Okay, so this is all about the basic things about html. If you know these things, like it is completely fine. So we no need, more than this we no need to do anything, and more than this we no need to worry about anything about the html. Okay, just do inspect and go to that particular web element, and just highlight in that particular web element html code. If you get to know this much, is fine enough to work with this thing. Okay, so now comes the selenium locators things. Okay, so locators is not it's not just a, like one thing. So there are multiple types of locators which selenium supports actually, so based on the properties. Okay, so why we are having so many types of proper locators means, so say for example, if you look at here, for the username and password field, the name attribute is same. Okay, the username and placeholder is name is same. So in order to identify the name and placeholder is name is same. So in order to identify the web elements uniquely on the page, we have so many different locators are available. Again, something happened to my system. This is due to this extension.